Good evening, everybody, and as you can tell, I'm joined by the former skipper, Matty Brown, to discuss his time with the Shaymen. Matty was a key part of the team, winning the FA Trophy with the club and getting the Shaymen back in the Vanarama National League. So, Matty, to start things off, how are you?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. It's been a while since I spoke to anybody from Halifax, so it's nice to see that shirt again.
Yeah, it made a lot of memories with the club.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely, I've always said it's the club it's always felt home to me. I didn't want to leave the club, to be honest, but circumstances dictated that was my path. But yeah, no, I had fantastic memories there. I'd like to think I built up a great rapport with the fans and people at the club, because there's some really good people at the club, and my family felt at home coming to watch at the club. And I experienced some success and obviously some not successful days and relegation and things, but it's all part and parcel of it, and it's they're part of your journey, what you enjoy as a Shayman.
So I'll start with some questions for me, and then we'll move on to some questions from the fans. So firstly, you started your youth career at Tranmere and Man City. Firstly, could you tell me how you made it into two top academies in England? How did your footballing career start?
We're going back a while now, mate. I'm 31 now, so let me just rejig. I think I joined Tranmere at 11. As a young lad, a few clubs wanted me to go and sign, but my dad was always keen on me just playing with my mates and enjoying it.
Yeah.
So I signed for Tranmere at under 11s, and I was there till under 16s, and then Man City bought me from Tranmere. I was on a three-year pro at Man City. Left there when I was 19, just turning 20.
Yeah.
So as a young lad, things were really looking well, but it just goes to show how quickly things can change. But really great memories from growing up.
Have you always been a centre-back?
Up until under 11s, I played centre mid, but then soon realised that I didn't have the engine to play centre mid, and had to go to the back and just, be a defender. So I'd say from the age of 11, 12, I've always been a centre-back.
In June 2015, you left Chester to join the Shaymen. But firstly, what attracted you to join Halifax?
It was actually Neil Ashburn. I think you'll be a little bit too young to remember, but we played, I was captain at Chester, and we played Halifax at the Shay on the 28th of December. That game in between Boxing Day and New Year's Day. The pitch was frozen. I always remember it. It was frozen, rock solid. Game should never have been on, but I think at the time Halifax were going for playoffs, and I think we wanted the game off, but it ends up being on. I scored a goal. In that game. We won 2-0, and I think after that game, Neil Ashburn always was in touch with me and Kingsley James. He was impressed with me and him in that game, because I think he'd done well against Lewis Maynard at the time, who was a good player for Halifax. So he gave us a call and just said, what are your thoughts? And, I know Neil Ashburn, his career as a centre-back, I thought, jump at the chance of that, to play under such a good playing centre-half in himself. And that was the main attraction to start. Obviously, I knew the size of the club, being a next-league club. But upon signing, I never thought I'd go on the journey that I actually did go on.
You scored quite a few goals, didn't you, in your career? And still do.
Yeah, well, I've got a half decent record. I think, to be honest, I should score more. For the size of me, and I'd like to think I'm good in the air, so I think I should score more. But you'd always get targeted by the opposition as a key member to mark from corners. So you've always got your best defenders from the opposition marking you. So it's one of them things. I'd like to have scored more, but yeah, I'm happy with my return. I think I've scored some important ones for Halifax anyway from the spot, more importantly.
The 2015-16 season had its ups and downs, including being relegated from the National League, but also winning the FA Trophy for the first time. I think we can also say that the side shouldn't have gone down that season with the quality we had, but what do you reckon happened?
It was really strange, to be honest, because when I first signed, the talks with Neil were, we want to get promoted, and that was the direction we wanted to go in. And the players we signed that summer, were like really good National League proven players.
Yeah. Oh.
It was weird because we were a team of individuals early on, and we didn't really gel. Even though we all got on, it wasn't happening on the pitch, and we were all over the shop, to be honest. And obviously Neil lost his job, and then we went down the route of Darren Kelly and things like that. But I think we turned it on too late, really. You know, Jim Harvey came in, and we went on. I think it was a 14-game unbeaten run we went on that season. And we just missed out on the last day against Macclesfield at home. I remember Kevin Roberts hitting the post in the final minutes where we could have stayed up. But I think over the course of the season, being totally honest, we probably did deserve to go down, because you can't start a season like that and expect to get away with it. You know, we got beat. Remember we got beat 7-1 at home against Cheltenham, and then we lost 7-0 away on the Tuesday against Grimsby. And when you're losing by them type of score lines, you're your own worst enemy. So, you know, we did put things right, but it was just a little bit late, really. But I think the likes of me and Kev, I can speak for Kevin Roberts, because it was really important that we stayed that summer, because we both had offers to leave the club to stay in the National League, but we felt, you know, we owed it to the club to stay and help try and get back into the National League. And luckily enough, you know, we done it the hard way via the playoffs, but we got there in the end.
How did it actually feel to win the FA Trophy from your point of view?
It was a bit weird, to be honest, mate. It was
back in your mind, relegation.
It was brilliant, but it was so strange, because we'd just been relegated, and then I think we had like a month before that game took place, and it was hard to accept, because I know a lot of fans might not have agree with what I'm going to say here, but I'd much rather have stayed in the league that year than won the FA Trophy. But I know the club hadn't, you know, been to Wembley and won at Wembley, so it was massive for them. But me personally, I would have rather have, stayed in the National League rather than being relegated. But it was a brilliant day. It's a day that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. It was unbelievable. You know, I think we were still underdogs. Grimsby had just been promoted the week before. So they were on cloud 9. They'd just won at Wembley the week before, and then they were back to play us, and no one gave us a hope in hell, really. And obviously, you know, Big Macca, the legend that he is, stepped up with his right foot, and then the rest history, really. But it was a brilliant day. But it was, when we were playing, it was hard to take it in. It's more now when I'm looking back and talking to people like yourself about it, and it brings back the memories, and what a fantastic day it was to have all your friends and family there and all the fans. It was brilliant.
I think at the time, fans probably would have said they would have rather stayed in the league. But I think looking back at it now, it's sort of, well, we've got back up there anyway. So I don't think now, I think fans are a bit more, we're glad we've got the FA Trophy under us, and we're still where we are today because of obviously that season where we came straight back up.
No, definitely, mate. I totally agree with you there. Yeah. You know, with hindsight's brilliant, isn't it? The following season, we bounced straight back up, but you see so many clubs who drop down. You know, for one, the club I'm at now have dropped down and they've struggled to get back up. So it's so hard. We were lucky. But yeah, looking back, I think, you know, it's part and parcel of being a Halifax supporter, I suppose, being on that roller coaster ride of ups and downs, isn't it? So,
after getting relegated from the Vanarama National League, it was always going to be tough, but Billy Heath and the squad managed to bounce back straight away, winning in the playoffs. Did winning the FA Trophy in the previous season give the squad some belief they could get back where they wanted to be?
Yeah, but there was only, if you look back at the squad, I think it was me, Kevin Roberts, Penny, Connor Hughes stayed. Macca obviously stayed, but he was injured for the first half.
I think.
Yeah, but at the start of that season, he wasn't our goalie. He went to Gateshead early doors. We got him back halfway because we started with Drenchy in goal, if you remember. Yeah. And Jake Hibbs stayed. Jordan Burrow for a bit, but then he left. But it was a strange one because the squad that actually won at Wembley, we lost a lot of them players, but that's why it was so important that you know, the lads who were there from the previous season instilled, you know, how big of a club it is to the new lads. And that Conference North season under Billy is the best dressing room I've ever been in terms of characters and lads who are willing to go that extra mile for each other, because we were all best mates. And to be honest, I think, being totally honest, we weren't the most technically gifted team. But we had such a team spirit. That's what dragged us over the line. You know, we had the likes of Cozzy and Jordan Sinnott, who could make something from nothing. But besides that, we were all very workmanlike and very honest, and that's what got us over the line, really. You know, Billy was a brilliant manager, and still speak to him today. Really close friend of mine now, Billy. And I think he's really underestimated the job he done at the club, because it's no easy job doing that.
I actually saw Tom Denton and Billy Heath, I think, at a Halifax game a couple of seasons ago when he'd actually gone.
Yeah.
It was obviously, I think he still really likes it. But anyway, Kingsley James actually told me, because I know Kingsley James from football. Kingsley James actually told me that, you know when you used to do penalty shootouts?
Yeah.
And then you train. Every single day in the week, you'd try to end a session. And he said that you always died it over the bar. and then we got to the match day, and then you flashed it in the top corner. So
but that's what you practice for, mate, isn't it? You hit them over the bar in training, and then when it counts, you put them in the back of the net. But he's not telling lies. It did happen.
You also scored against Salford, which sent us up. If we're quick, I'm sure we can just quickly play the clip now.
The shirt's off.
So at the time, what was actually going through your head at the time? Because it was such a calm and penalty. What was actually going through your head?
Do you know, thinking back, I'm sure we had 2 penalties. I could have afforded to miss, and we could have still won, with Kevin Roberts was the next penalty after me. So I knew even if I missed, we were still winning. So I was calm anyway. But I don't really get nervous. You know, the bigger the challenge, I sort of come into my own. And I remember just stepping up, thinking, you know, if I score here, we're in the final against Chorley the following week. So it was more just, you know, how determined we were to get back into the National League. It was just a job to be done. You just got to keep your cool head on. And as soon as I seen it at the back of the net, you know, when things start happening like that, you sort of know you're gonna go up. And that was just a release of emotions, really, because I knew no matter what, we were going up. And I don't know if you're just a little bit too young to remember properly, but that when we actually played against Chorley, we weren't at our best on the day, but there was no beating us. You know, things happened for us, and it was brilliant.
It was a bit of a shame that, because obviously we won, they looked comfortable, and then that free kick went in, which I don't think were a free kick in the first place, if I remember rightly. But
yeah, no, you're right.
You played under many management styles, including Billy Heath's long ball routine, Jimmy Fulton's possession style, Pete Wilde's counter-attacking style. But in your opinion, what best suits you?
It's a difficult question, that, to be honest. I'd like to think I can adjust. You know, as a defender, your job is to keep clean sheets and organise, and they're things that, no matter how the team wants to play, are key ingredients to being successful. And I think, you know, I'd like to think I can adjust to any, but I probably most enjoyed my football under Jamie Fullerton. You know, he got a lot of stick, to be honest, Jamie Fullerton, but he knew the game inside out, and he had us so organised. I think that season where, you know, it was looking like we were going to be relegated at one point, and then we just went on a run. I think we kept 14 odd clean sheets that year, 1-0s and things like that. It must have been a bit frustrating as a fan to watch, not very exciting. But as a defender, when you're getting clean sheets, we felt so solid. But I enjoyed it under every manager, really. Jim Harvey, Billy Heath, obviously Jamie Fullerton. Didn't enjoy it so much under Neil and Darren Kelly. And obviously I had a season with Pete Wild, which I enjoyed too. So yeah, I'd like to think I can adjust, because the manager I've got now is he's just unbelievable as well. He's really good. So yeah, I'd like to think I can adjust.
We actually got the 5th best defence that season, and we still came 18th. I think, in my opinion, it was the attacking side that let us down. But I think, if I'm honest, it probably was, because you can't do any better than that when you're 18th and you're 5th in the league. Like, you had Nathan Clark next to you, was obviously quite a solid centre back as well. Yeah. So it was a really comfortable defence, and I think every single game we always looked comfortable at the back. It didn't matter if you're up against someone like Fisherman, who's at Bournemouth, or who else is there? There's plenty of players anyway out there. All these top quality players. And Clark, and even going back to with Garner, it was always a very solid defence. I was always confident going into a game with you and Clark, or you and Garner at the back. What do you think it was that made you and another centre back click, where you were keeping a lot of clean sheets?
I think communication and organisation, and wanting to be a leader. The 2 players you mentioned there. Obviously, I enjoyed playing with Garns, but played with Clarkey. I learned so much off Clarkey. He's top player and great guy as well. And me and him, as soon as we played together, we just clicked, because we didn't shut up talking to each other all game. We were organising everybody, and we had that understanding where if he missed it, I'd be there. If I missed it, he'd be there. And we just sort of clicked. And you talk about relationships and keeping clean sheets. I think when you've got confidence in the person next to you, it makes you play better, if that makes sense, because you feel like even if you do mess up, your partner's going to get you out of trouble, and vice versa. So I built up a fantastic relationship with Clarkey, and to be honest, I was absolutely devastated that partnership had to be, broken up. But that's one of them things. But I really enjoy playing with Clarkey, and I learned a lot from him, and he's a great lad as well.
Finally, until we get some fan questions, I've got my final question here. If anybody who is watching live now wants to put anything in the chat, you're welcome to. We've got some questions here from Twitter and Instagram. My final question is, finally, from me, before we go on to some fans' questions, why did you leave the Shaymen, and what was it about York that made you decide to put pen to paper?
I've come out and said I never wanted to leave the club. I wanted to see my career out at Halifax. I think it would be wrong of me to go into detail of why I actually did leave. I'd like to think I've got that professionalism about me where I'd like to keep that under wraps, but I think everybody knows that I never wanted to actually leave the club. Circumstances just dictate sometimes. I was happy. I played my best football there, loved the fans. I'd like to think that the fans liked me. Yeah, I was happy. I loved it there, mate, and I've got no problem in admitting that. I wanted to stay there for the rest of my career, but things happen, and that's just football. You just get on with it. But in terms of going into details, I don't think it's very professional of me, and I'd like to keep that dignity about myself where I don't want to, tell tales type thing. But I never wanted to leave. But when you're talking about what was it attractive about York, it was, it's another massive club. I'd like to think it's a similar club to Halifax, in its size and stature, and it's a project. And the manager Steve Watson, I'm obviously a massive Everton fan, and he was a hero of mine when I watched Everton. So to play under him was massive for me, and I've got a great relationship with him now, and nothing would be better for me to help get York back into the National League. And hopefully when we come to the Shay, I get a good reception and don't get booed.
I'm sure when obviously they've cancelled the season and stuff. I'm sure this season York will probably get promoted. It'll be a derby, a bit of a Halifax versus York at the Shay.
Yeah, I know. No own goals though. I'll have to play properly.
Yeah. So I'll move on to some of the fans' questions now. Now, firstly, from Rob Brown from the Supporters Club. Can you name all the clubs you've played for in order?
Are we talking first team football here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I'd go Northwich Victoria.
Yeah, that's correct.
Then Marine.
Yeah.
Then Chesterfield.
Yeah.
Then I went on loan to Southport.
Mm-hmm.
Went on loan to Chester. Went back to Chesterfield. Signed permanently for Chester. Signed permanently for Halifax. And signed permanently for York.
All correct, that. So
I had to get that right, didn't I? Considering
every time we do the next player, we always get it wrong. So that's pretty good at that. So this is from David Peter Woodhead. What is it like playing with your FCHT teammates in Jack Redshaw and Michael Duckworth?
Yeah, it was really good. You know, Ducky's a York lad, and it was great playing with Ducky. You know, he's injured quite a lot last year, but Jack Redshaw I'm really good friends with. I actually brought him to Halifax. I mentioned him to Pete Wild. We played at Man City together, me and Jack, so we've known each other a long time. So we keep in touch even now, even though he's left now and signed for Ashton. We keep in touch, but it's always nice to have some familiar faces around.
Now this is from Shaymen 854. Were there any regrets at Town, maybe reaching the Football League or not getting relegated, or maybe staying at Town? I don't know, what regrets, if there were one regret, something that you'd want to do that you didn't at Town, what would it be?
Yeah, get Halifax back into the league. That was always my goal. You know, as captain, to lead them back into the league would have been unbelievable for me, and I really do believe that I could have done that. So yeah, that will always be a bugbear of mine, but that was sort of taken out of my control. So some things you can't help in life. The relegation, I don't regret it. I didn't ever want it to happen, but it was part of the journey. We bounced straight back up, so it cancelled it out. It just made my bond with the club even stronger, you know, and going on that journey with the club. But yeah, not being able to get the club back into the Football League is you know, it's a real bugbear of mine.
This is from James Campbell. As a centre-back, who's your worst nightmare to defend against? And who is the best player you've ever played against?
I don't think any defender likes playing against pace, so luckily I haven't really had to play against them much, but someone like Devante Rodney would have been, you know, no defender wants to play against him because he's so quick. But best player played against, I don't know, there's been quite a few. Off the top of my head, I'd probably say Rubinho.
Yeah. Rubinho? Played against him?
Yeah. That man's, well, in training games, yeah, he was unbelievable. So
this is from the Supporters Club. Now they've put something out. Best player you've ever played with at Town, or best mate at Town?
Best mate, Sam Johnson. Still really good friends with him now. You know, Clarkie's not far behind, but you know, me and Sam go back a long way, and we were car school mates for so many years, and he's a great lad. He loves the club too, and I'm glad he signed a new 2-year contract because there's no better keeper than him about. And what was the other bit of the question? Sorry.
Best player you've ever played with, as in like the best footballer.
Technical ability, I'd have to say. My mate Jordan Sinnott. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but in terms of ability, he could do everything with the ball, and you know, he had his critics, you know, with his pace maybe, but what he could do with the ball was unbelievable.
This is from someone called Denny Dorwin. Best game or moment you have ever attended in a Town shirt?
It's been a good few. obviously the Wembley against Grimsby is going to have to stick out there. The Salford game, the Chorley game, but also beating Wrexham 2-0 at home the season we went down at the Shay. You know, Wrexham were banging form at the time, and obviously including Chester, I was getting a lot of stick off the Wrexham fans. You know, to beat them 2-0 was, and Kingsley scoring was extra special that year.
The final question we've got is actually from YouTube. Did Matty enjoy winning at Wembley? Did Matty enjoy winning at Wembley more than beating Chorley at the Shay in the promotion final?
No, Wembley was brilliant, but that was a luxury for me. You know, regardless of how Wembley went, it was brilliant, but that was a real luxury. Actually getting the club back into the National League was nothing all compared to that for me, really, because the club needs to get promoted again into the Football League, but that was massive going back up that year. And the way we done it, because I think at Christmas time we were 10th in the table. You know, I remember we actually got booed off at Stalybridge away. We got beat by Stalybridge away. And after that, we had a bit of a meeting as players and just said, right, we need to book our ideas up and roll our sleeves up. And from then, we just went on an absolute steam train of a run and just kept going and got promoted.
Finally, before we end the video, I'd just like to say, because I didn't actually get time to say it, but do you remember the Files game away where we won 2-0?
I knew this was coming.
I'd just like to thank you for the shirt. It's here. I don't know if it's showing up right because of some camera thing.
It's showing up orange, but I know what colour shirt. I remember the illuminated yellow shirt. I remember coming up to you.
It was probably my best game that I've ever attended at Town because of obviously what happened on the final whistle, and it was a great performance by the team as well.
Yeah, no, it was, but I remember because I actually got shouted at by my dad because he comes to all the games, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but he said that the last home game you had that sign, and I missed you, and he said you need to go and find that kid and give him your shirt because he had a sign for you, and I felt so guilty. So I think that game, I think I actually scored that game as well.
Yeah, you did. Right, goal. Yeah, I just scored twice, but one of them was offside because I was like, "Oh yes, he scored. He'll come over now." And then it was given offside, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll have to wait now." And then scored later on.
No, I remember it, mate. Yeah, I do. I remember coming up to you and giving you my shirt, even though I got in trouble off the club for giving a shirt away.
Sorry about that if you got in any trouble.
It had to be done, didn't it, mate?
Yeah. Anyway, that's more or less it for this interview. I really appreciate you coming on. It does really help out the interviews. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in. This will be on live afterwards. And that's more or less it. So thank you, everyone. Have a good evening and bye.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.